laughter is one of those blessings from the Lord, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have a ready laugh or even be able to find stuff enjoyable. And, you know, people kind of throw around, they bandy the terms happiness and joy. I think it's all tied in. And if we are joyful in our lives, we will experience more times of laughter. Welcome to our next question, a place of discovery and not the final answer. I'm Chris Onit, the marriage and family therapist, and sitting next to me is Melanie Jones, part owner of Downey Park Counseling, and my wife.
Thanks for joining us. Let's get the conversation started.
Okay, here we are. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our next question, and we are in a new season
Yes, we are.
of adventure and all the things we're going to talk about. Today's topic, we'll get to it, is what is humor and why is humor important? All those sorts of things. And Melanie, you like humor, don't you?
I do. I love humor.
Okay. So we'll talk about that some more. But first, let's address why I have a new co-host. I've actually roped my wife, kicking and screaming, to be here. Caroline has moved on, and we bless her. We're happy that she is moving on forward in her life. There's no weird scandal or personality thing going on here. She has just been called to do something else, and we are totally in support of that. So there you have it.
Yeah, super sad to see her go, though. But yeah.
Yeah. So she obviously gave a lot to our podcast, and she created part of the tone and what we do here. And our new co-host, Melanie, is not out there like Caroline is, but she brings her own warmth and depth and insight to this whole process. And again, babe, I'm super. Can I call you babe? Is that,
sure.
You're not going to file anything sort of
No.
weird thing against? Okay, good.
This was the kind of thing where, like, you asked me to do this, and it was a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, sure. And then it's one of those things that as you get closer to, you're like, why
what have I done?
did I say I would do that?
Here we go.
Yeah.
And of course, as always, our producer and bearded stepson, Caleb Meyer. Caleb, how
that's
are
a new
you?
title. I never got the bearded stepson. I'm doing well. Yeah.
What is going on in Caleb's corner?
Oh, well, I mean, I heard we were talking about humor today.
Yes.
Right? So I thought, Chris said, hey, we're going to introduce this new segment called Caleb's Corner. So I'm like, oh boy, I better prepare something. And I got a joke.
All right.
Oh,
I picked this up at Thanksgiving.
Gird your loins,
All
ladies and gentlemen.
my nieces and nephews were around, so I had to have good jokes ready to go.
Nice.
So the question is, why did the guy with poor eyesight fall into the well?
Okay,
I
lay it
don't
on
know.
me.
Because he couldn't see that well.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Good
There
one.
you go.
Okay.
That's what I got. I got more where that came from.
You know,
but
the crazy thing is, every time someone tells me a joke and I really like the joke, I never remember the joke.
Right. I know. Me either. I'll remember bits and pieces, but then it never comes out.
So
as well.
I'll tell it to you again later, and you'll laugh.
Thank you so
just as
much. I will be
so.
it'll be totally unexpected. Do you have any jokes, babe?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, I have a joke.
All right.
And this just popped into my head. It's really one of the only jokes I remember. So you got these two older ladies, and they're driving down the road. Gertrude and Mildred. I'm just making up names. And they're driving down the road, and Mildred's driving, Gertrude's the passenger, and they start to approach a stop sign, and they're going 50 miles an hour, and Gertrude blows right through the stop sign. And Mildred's like, I cannot believe what just happened. Did that just happen? And she's stunned. So she's like, all right, well, okay. So they're still driving. Must be somewhere in the Central Valley because of all the country roads and stop signs. So here comes another stop sign, and they start to go through it. They approach it, blows right through it. And Mildred is like, oh my word, I cannot believe she just did that again. And she says, Mildred says, Gertrude, can you believe what are you doing? You just blew through two stop signs. And Gertrude says, wait, I'm driving?
Oh, dear.
Yes. Anyway, I don't know why I remember that one. There's so many others out there.
Right.
I love the Chuck Norris ones.
Oh, don't get him
That
started.
doesn't surprise me.
Don't
Dude,
get him
if you work
started.
in an office,
Oh gosh, here we
never
go.
ask Chuck Norris for the 3-hole punch.
Oof.
Anyway, so we're thank you.
We've given our audience some good ammunition.
There you
for,
go.
for future
Absolutely.
joke opportunities.
So, why are we talking about this?
I don't know. You came up with it.
Okay. Why? Because humor is important to you. Why is it important to you?
I think, I don't know. I was raised by parents that love to laugh. Both my parents
Yeah.
enjoy laughing and laugh easily.
Yes, that is
so-
true. I corroborate.
So I guess that's why it's always been a part of my life. And then I just see the value in it. You always feel better after you have a good laugh.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And
When's the
so-
last time you laughed like super hard? That question's for you too, Caleb. When's the last time you were like, you've laughed like that, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yes. Do you
So, go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say, I do remember a specific instance, and we have it recorded, actually, because we were playing this game as a family. It's called Puns of Anarchy.
Oh, wow.
And you take, like, titles of books and song lyrics and stuff like that, and you get whiteboards with those on it. And you have to alter them to make puns.
Oh, that is hard. That is difficult.
For some reason, we just got into it, and it was a really good round. And you had to do it for, like, a specific category.
Okay.
So this category was, I think, old people. And so my brother was reading off all these responses that he got of these edited whiteboards, and we just started dying laughing. Like we were crying. We could not get through it. Like some people had to walk and leave the room because we were
that is
laughing way too
awesome.
hard. I remember a couple of them. One of them, it was Grapes of Wrath, and
Yes.
it was edited to The Gramps of Wrinkle.
I see.
And so it was things like that just kept
Gramps of
progressing, and we
Wrinkle.
just were in a state where we were just hyper.
It was a euphoric, humorous
Absolutely.
state.
Like I think that's the hardest I've ever laughed in my life.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that right?
And our family still goes back and
that's
watches
great.
that video every so often.
Oh,
and is
that's
like,
awesome.
that was crazy.
That is great that it was recorded. That is special.
Right?
Yep.
What
Okay.
was the game called again?
It's called Puns of Anarchy.
Oh.
Not a sponsor, but you
Okay.
know,
Not a
they get a free shout out. So
Right. Ooh, I'll have
Backward,
to look that up. We're
reverse
always looking
sponsor.
for good
if
games.
you want a
so
good
we can-
laugh, yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you a good
What
laugh.
about you,
Puns of
Mel?
Anarchy. So I was with Caroline and Amy.
Okay.
I always get great laughs when I'm with them.
Okay.
I don't know how, because this is not going to be funny to anyone else, and I don't know why it was
That's
so funny
the
to
case,
me
yeah.
and Amy. But we were in Home Goods, and Caroline ran into a friend of hers from a Bible study or something, and Amy and I were just kind of awkwardly standing in the background. This is not going to be funny, and so Amy said something. I'm not going to repeat it because it's not bad or inappropriate at all.
It's not.
But Amy said something that triggered me, and and then she started laughing too, and so
Okay.
we were both just hysterical. And then she was like, "I hope her friend doesn't think we're laughing at her," because
Oh,
we were
boy.
both like having to go down
You were
separate
like children.
aisles. Yes, like children.
That's awesome.
Yes. It was
So there's
hilarious.
for me there's several situations I'm sure I've laughed like so hard, but one of the most memorable times you were with me because we were at Stinking Rose in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we started, and here it's maybe akin to what Caleb went through. It was we were laughing at something, and then all of a sudden it kind of gained momentum.
Yeah.
And there was a person, people at the table that we couldn't see behind us. And this gal had a kind of distinct laugh. And my brother-in-law, Bruce, like mimicked her laugh. And I went into another dimension. My stomach was so, I could barely breathe. I was laughing so hard. And
That's the thing about laughter, though, is it's contagious.
oh,
right?
it is.
Oh, yeah.
But so is, I suppose, anger, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I think in a
there's
healthy
mirroring.
way.
There's a mirroring psychological principle there.
Yeah, I notice I do that a lot. Like
What?
I have a
Yes.
specific friend, Joanne, who, when I am with her, I don't even know what she's laughing about. But if she's laughing, I'm laughing too.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things that connected us is you appreciated a good joke.
Yeah.
You have a ready laugh, and people know it from the other room. And I like to make jokes and try and be charming awkwardly. And so when we first got together, if I was able to make you, and still today, if I'm able to make you laugh, man, the arrow hits the mark. And
if I don't laugh at your joke, you know I'm mad.
Oh boy, I got to do some repair situation there. So why are we talking about this? I mean, laughter is one of those blessings from the Lord, you know, to be able to have a ready laugh or even be able to find stuff enjoyable. And, you know, people kind of throw around, they bandy the terms happiness and joy. I think it's all tied in. And if we are joyful in our lives, we will experience more times of laughter. Sometimes you hear about people that have a hard, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but you hear about people who have a hard time, like having a sense of humor. It doesn't seem like they have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You and I have often talked about, if I didn't have a sense of humor, that would have been a deal breaker early on.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That would have been like moving on. I had a buddy who was at the Dollar Tree one time, and he's standing in line, and there's the line's a few people, and the gal behind him is complaining, saying, "Why don't they get more, registers open?" And he said to her, "Ma'am, if they opened another register, they'd have to start calling it the $2 tree." Well, it landed. I think he's funny. He's hilarious, but it didn't land with her. Well, and if your filter is one of defensiveness, and I don't know, you've been through perhaps a lot of trauma, and your whole mindset is looking for the problem, you're going to find the problem, right? And it's going to take place of things you can truly laugh at. So, I mean, there's a psychological principle there with laughter, but there's also a biblical principle, right? Psychologically, it helps relieve tension. Oftentimes, laughter comes from a result of tension. That's why sometimes fear and laughter are actually related. Crazy. But as far as God's word is concerned, some speculate that Jesus, if he was truly joyful in who he was, then yes, he laughed readily. And so Proverbs 17:22, a joyful heart is good medicine. Cheerfulness has real embodied benefits. Not all somberness is holiness, right? Sometimes joy and laughter is very holy. In Genesis 18:12-15 and 21:6, Sarah laughs at God's promise and later says, "God has made laughter for me." So human laughter can be, it can be cynical, could be all types of laughter, but it can also, what can be cynical can be redeemed into joy. So, yes, Sarah was like, "Come on." And then later it was like, "Wow."
Yeah, because she names Isaac, right? Which means laughter.
Yes.
Because she laughed at God. But it's a reminder of God's promise and her joy in that.
And the joy, yeah.
Wow. So for us as Christians, laughter matters because in some ways it helps offset some of the challenges and difficulties we go through. It can definitely connect across differences. I have a story on that one. I'm not sure I'm going to tell it, but oh, come on, why not? So I walked in this video store, and that's dating myself, right? This is years ago. I walked in this dating store, dating store? No, not the dating store. Isn't that funny? No, I did that on purpose. You see what I did there? I walked into this dating store. Wow, that's something else entirely. I walked in this video store, and there was this older man who was a Sikh, and he had his turban on, and he looked to be 70s, 80s. And his younger man had his arm around him, and I immediately walk into the building, and the older man totally lets out a fart. Like, no compunction whatsoever. And the younger man looks over his shoulder at me as I walk in the store, and he sees that I hear it because he sees my reaction. And he gives me a smile and a nod, and right there we were friends.
Right? Laughter forms connections. Like when you,
100%.
even if it's a stranger, if you share, like you both see something,
yes,
you both laugh at it, it's like you have an instant connection with someone.
Yeah. That is true. And there's the different types of laughter. Like, there is, we'll get into that a little more, but there's the, where you're making a joke like this, puns of anarchy. To me, that's difficult. But humor on the fly
Oh God.
is something I feel more comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is interesting because the home I was raised in, there wasn't a lot of like joking, and I loved like Saturday Night Live. I love skit humor. I love all that stuff. But it wasn't like we were cracking jokes and all that stuff in our family.
Yeah.
Was it that way for you?
Not so much the joke. Well, my mom for sure. My mom loved. She cracked herself up.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it was usually at myself or my sister's expense.
Oh,
Not in a bad way, but like.
Right.
I remember one time we were. I grew up in a really teeny tiny town in Northern California, and
Willits.
Yeah, and we had a main street. Everybody
Yes.
knew Main Street. So we had a bunch of clothes we were dropping off at the local thrift store or consignment. I don't remember. But one of the items, because we had gotten some stuff from one of my aunts and my older aunt, one of them was just this hideous white fur coat. It was garish and gaudy and horrible. And I'm a teenager, so everything embarrasses me.
Right,
at that
absolutely.
time, you know. So my mom thinks it would be hilarious if she puts the coat on and like chases after me down the street.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's cracking herself up the entire time.
Oh
She's
my
laughing. I'm not
gosh.
laughing at that point. But I think that taught me like, oh, she thought it was so funny.
Well, I'm just picturing your mom doing this, and that
Oh my
doesn't
gosh.
seem to fit with like what I know of her.
Oh no, she's totally like that. The other thing she would like to do is like if she was picking me up from school is to wait till I got right to the door and then pull forward.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
And she would just be cracking up in the car. Yeah,
Here she has these cool daughters who are so, want
right.
everything together.
Trying to maintain her.
That's right.
coolness
Exactly.
and-
The imaginary audience, of course. Okay.
Right.
So there's obviously there's different types of humor, right? There's
Yeah.
the light kind of playful humor, the bantering back and forth. There's absurd and surreal humor. Think nonsense scenarios like this is so dumb it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Nacho Libre.
Nacho Libre.
Yep.
Nacho
That's
Libre.
nonsense right there.
Don't you have people though? You talk to people that are like that is the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
I love
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's great.
It
It's got
is.
some dumb parts, but it's great.
It's the best.
He's got all the fancy creams and lotions. It's
Well, it's because typically those kind of comedies are foul and disgusting.
yes.
And
Yes.
this is one that I totally appreciate it because it manages to be silly and funny and being clean the entire time.
100%. So yes, you do have crude humor. And so there's, sexual innuendo, there's objectification, there's insults, which is horrible because it turns God's image bearers into punchlines.
Yeah.
And even Ephesians 5:4 warns against crude joking. That's out of place, calling Thanksgiving instead. So, but the crude humor is a type of boundary pushing, which is vital in certain contexts, like satire. Satire, of course, it exposes hypocrisy, injustice, and even pretension by exaggeration. One example I think of is the Babylon Bee, which sometimes they hit it out of the park and sometimes they don't. But they had during there was something going down in Southern California. It might have been, I don't think it was the fires, but it was something about. It might have been flooding or something where there was a lot of people infected, and the headline read. Yacht owners in Newport Beach use their vessels to spell the word hope. It's just like, okay, wow, we're all pulling together in the in the variations in our society and our culture. So,
Yeah, it's interesting that you talk about it. And with Jesus as well. I don't know. I'm thinking of like the parables. And oftentimes
Yes.
probably how comical those were in some
Sure.
situations of like, this is so ridiculous. Why would anyone ever act that way? And then Jesus
Yes.
uses it to point to like, no, this is what you're doing, right? I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, I mean, some say even when he uses like, it's easier for a rich man to enter the eye of a needle than it is
or a camel to go through the eye of a needle.
Thank you. I've totally botched that one. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. And there used to be belief that the eye of the needle was an actual gate, but from my understanding, that's been dispelled. So he was literally talking about eye of a needle, camel through the eye of a needle. It's absurdity.
Wait, Caleb was going to say something.
Oh, I was just trying to think of another example. I think one that comes to mind is the unforgiving servant.
Oh, yeah.
It's not necessarily a funny story, but you see the servant who was forgiven like this huge debt by the king, and he was going to be... And then there's this other servant that has like a small debt that he demands be paid after being forgiven this huge debt. And it's
you
like,
gotta be kidding me.
Who would ever do that? Like, it's absurd. Like, you've just been... And then Jesus uses that to make a point as to how we hold on to unforgiveness, not realizing how much we've been forgiven of through God.
So there was even it was Elijah was talking about when he was taking on Balaam. He said maybe your God is asleep. Which is a total casting shade on the other team.
Well, the other thing about Balaam's donkey was like Balaam's beating him, and the donkey turns around and says,
"What are you doing?
Oh, have I ever acted like this before?" Or something like that.
I think it's funny because we grew up like reading the Bible,
right?
And like it's so like kind of ancient and traditional. Yes. I think we can oftentimes miss a lot of the humor that's within it because we're like, oh, it's this sacred text. But I think God does have a lot of humor throughout. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So when I was, reading up on this and stuff, somebody, I don't know, a blogger or something, had talked about this passage in John 1:43 through 50, and it's where Jesus is telling Philip to go find Nathaniel, and it's funny how you read it matters. Because I think, like you said, we tend to read it like, and everybody's very solemn and serious. And so, let me just read it really quick. As they approached, Jesus said, no. So, first, Nathaniel says, Nazareth, exclaimed Nathaniel, can anything good come from Nazareth? And Philip says, come see for yourself. As they approached, Jesus said, now here is a genuine son of Israel, a man of complete integrity. How do you know about me? Asked Nathanael. Jesus replied, I could see you under the fig tree before Philip found you. Then Nathanael exclaimed, Rabbi, you are the Son of God, the King of Israel. And Jesus asked him, do you believe this just because I told you I saw you under the fig tree? And so
it's like,
I never
that's
would
a low bar.
I never would have thought about that as like funny, but when this blogger put it into a humorous context, I was like, it's all about tone. It's like reading a text and not knowing exactly what somebody is.
This because I saw you under the fig tree.
Yeah.
Versus
and how we see Jesus, right? As very serious.
Oh gosh.
I think that's one of the things that I've loved most about The Chosen is that it's put a whole nother light on Jesus' personality.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is, even part of what brought us together is our love for humor. And if you think about Jesus being the person you would most love to spend time with, right? Having that be a genuine statement, not just, well, I should pick Jesus, and then be somber and intellectual the entire time as he sits there, even though he was more intellectual than anybody else on earth. And he was funny, I could imagine, right? He was someone who was like, this, I want to hang out with this dude.
Yeah.
I want to. Very cool.
For sure.
Well, I mean, that gets into, I don't know that Jesus was this way, but self-deprecating humor, like in a healthy way. Because any of these types of humor can get dialed to the point where it gets totally unhealthy. And if you notice yourself, every time you make a joke, it's putting you or someone else down, that's pause for reflection. And to be able to say, hey, wait a second, is this like edifying and glorifying?
Yeah, why am I doing this?
Is this a blessing to me and to those around me? Yeah. I was just thinking that Melanie loves when people fall down.
I'm not proud.
Why? Why do you love when people fall down?
I don't know. I wish I knew that. And I feel terrible that I
Is it
find
that you love
so.
to see people suffering? No.
What it is. I don't know what it is. I have no answer.
I think
for that.
it's unexpected. It's something unexpected. It's out of context. I mean, there's a classic story of she being at this retail.
It was
store.
Keller's,
the old Keller's here in our town of Modesto, and he was coming down. Her dad was coming down the stairs, and he wasn't just coming down the stairs. You have to understand Phil Jones in this context. He had his hands in his pockets, and he was agape, looking around. I could just see the picture, and I wasn't even there.
No, yeah.
But I've heard the story so many times.
Yes,
he was like looking at everything, and when he does this, he doesn't remember to close his mouth. And so no doubt he's looking at that and his mouth is open. He's just taking it all in, and he missteps and comes tumbling down the stairs.
Oh my gosh. He like rolled down because it was the type of stairs where they go down one way and then there's a landing. And then he like rolled down and then rolled a little bit more down.
And didn't he like spring up?
Yes, because
like,
he was mortified.
Here. Nothing to see. Nothing to see here.
And of course, I can't stop laughing.
Well, apparently you laughed so hard you couldn't stand anymore. You had to sit down.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's not like God is saying, oh no, that's nothing to laugh at. And, it's if it's funny, it's okay to laugh. It's okay. So self-deprecating humor, this is, again, healthy. We're all a mess. We all need a savior. So to be able to admit that and be like, yeah, man, geez. Or at least it's a type of even confession in some ways. And it builds humility and reduces even intimidation. There's dark humor. And it shows up around, believe it or not, trauma and medical settings, first responders.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a way to distance, a way to distance themselves from the stuff they see around. And if you've known anybody in first responders or medical field, you know that this is a common thing. And again, it's coping. It's built to cope.
So do you think that that's a healthy
Ooh, that's a good question.
way to cope?
Because I think it's within us to do something like that, and so we can offset the tremendousness of a situation to function.
Yeah,
which I think is God-given. Humor can distance from that, but we also need to come back to a place where we actually feel the weight of what has happened.
Right, and process it.
And totally process it, because if we don't, that's what turns it into unhealthy. Right. And so we even get, a lot of comedians who we find out are depressed or even involved in drugs because there's an escape there that they're not fully acknowledging. It's funny, Seinfeld once said, comedians are good with everyone, but they're good with no one. Because there's a joke among the comedian crowd about, they can draw a room and get attention and laughs and all this other stuff. But when it comes to talking one-on-one, they're uncomfortable. It's like, ooh, that's too deep into the soul.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Humor, of course, is cross-cultural. There's different cultures that find different things funny. And the most glaring example I can think of is the Japanese. With the game shows.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, listen, I had a belly laugh one time when seeing one of these game shows, because they don't have the lawyers in Japan that we have in the United States, right? They're like, if you get hurt, that's on you.
You chose to do this.
And so they do crazy things. And I think we were watching that show Wipeout, which is, of course, based on a Japanese. And oh my gosh, some of the things that would happen to people just physically, you would be like, how did they recover from that?
Right.
So, yes. Okay. So, man, have we sussed everything out? Well, there's actually humor among moral development, maturity stages. And so as we get older, right, if you're younger, you're going to think body humor, silly faces.
Right. We've got grandkids that
Yep.
it's all about the potty humor right now.
Oh, my gosh.
And the parents trying to squash that.
Wait a second. Our boys are still about the potty humor. Anyway, they're like
For
in their
me,
20s.
yeah, like my nieces and nephews and some other kids that I spend time around in church. It's all 6, 7 right now. I know I probably just triggered some people by saying that.
Oh, 6, 7.
It's just the meme that's taken on, and the kids will just laugh and laugh at it without, like, it has no meaning.
Right.
But it's just funny because it's become a cultural thing, and
It
then
sure
they'll laugh at
has.
it over and over again. Anyway.
So preteens enjoy rule-breaking jokes, pranks, taboo topics. Think some... yeah.
That's interesting. It's almost a way to like test boundaries
Sure.
and like
yeah.
kind of push and see
Yeah.
what's acceptable versus.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a huge component of comedians is they are testing some of the boundaries. I've heard one of the radio shows I listen to once in a while said, "Look, I'm okay with comedians making me uncomfortable. My boundaries should be pushed every once in a while." And so I go, but I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, the sexual humor is not something that
Yeah, it's interesting because you don't at the same time want to become desensitized to
Right,
like,
exactly.
serious topics
Yes.
by mixing them with humor and.
I mean, if it's listen, I'm all for like poking at the church because it's an institution I'm a part of, and I think we need that. We need to be honest about some of the stuff that goes on. There was one Babylon Bee thing I saw that it said Jesus exorcises demon from man by taking his cell phone. So it's like okay, it's like a way to say something that says, hey,
Yeah.
for teens, the humor might be sarcasm, irony, and inside jokes because they're forming their identity.
And again, there's that connection of like,
Oh, totally. We all find this funny.
yeah,
Oh, that explains 6, 7 right there.
totally,
Yes,
yeah.
It's like he finds it funny. I find it funny. Adults ideally move toward layered humor that can hold complexity and empathy. So, immature humor, of course, relies on shock, cruelty, or degradation, and it needs someone beneath to another person to feel powerful. Mature humor can admit personal flaws. It knows the difference between teasing and humiliation, right? Friendly teasing. I often joke to my wife that she can't have discussions with me because she ain't got no college. But she is better read than I am and knows a ton of stuff about a variety of things. And anyone you ask who knows her will corroborate this information. So
I was thinking that should have been my intro. That should have been my.
I ain't got no
Hi,
college.
I'm Melanie, and I ain't got no college.
But you're smart. Go ahead. Say something clever. Go on. So obviously mature humor can laugh at the absurdity of life without denying pain. And so I think sometimes this even folds into, now this may be more in the past than it is today, but sometimes even Christian humor can be kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
What?
And it's true
Glad you're
across
sitting
it's
down.
true across the board. Christian
can.
art can be very cheesy.
Ooh.
Christian
She said it.
Huh.
Christian music can be very
Oh
cheesy.
my God.
I
Because
wonder-
are you,
I was gonna say, I wonder if that's because, like, I could see it being because it tends to take itself too seriously.
sure.
with
or
Christian media. In the past, anyway, I think it's gotten a lot better. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, it could also be because, I mean, there could be, a variety of things. One of them, I think, it could be if you don't have the talent to get into the mainstream, you just put a Christian label on yourself. God forbid. I'm not saying this is all cases, but we've also seen quote unquote artists that have started in the Christian realm and then they transition. Who not all of them completely abandon their faith, but some seem to have, right? The other thing is like if it's lacking a level of sophistication, then it's not the best. And I think as Christians, we need to strive to be at our utmost and our best. That includes humor. Like be funny, darn it. This is why I was super happy when, like, The Chosen, when that came out. It was like, okay, we're all familiar with the 70s kind of Jesus stuff. God bless them, they were trying, but it all seemed so somber. It seemed so one-dimensional. And so I think it's important we respect the complexity of all this stuff.
I think too, like both with Christian media and like I said, I think sometimes it just feels kind of cringy because it can take itself too seriously or try to go too deep too quickly, or I don't know what it is. But I think I was thinking about this earlier with like horror movies as well. A huge part is like there's that building of the tension.
Yes, 100%.
And then there's the catharsis of the release of the tension with like a joke here, a quip here, something you don't expect to be there that's there, and it's like, I can breathe again. And so it's like really interesting how, you know, there's stress, and then there's humor that helps like relieve that stress.
So you're onto something, because I've actually had many clients who for some reason love horror movies, and they can't quite explain it, but they've done studies where they've turned the camera around when showing horror films, and you'll see that very thing. There's tension, then there's release, and with that release comes laughter. And there's this kind of like, oh, wow. Which then folds into some of the more destructive humor when it has an edge of the sarcasm and the biting. And when I was younger, I would engage in some of that humor. And then one day I kind of said to myself, man, is all my joking something about negative stuff? Is it all negative? And I was like, I want to stop, you know, starting a joke off like, well, man, the weather really was great today, isn't it, when it's pouring rain outside? Instead, being able to say, hey, wow, thank God for the rain. You know, anyway, it's my own personal struggle, so thank you. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about parental angles when we hear our kids joking in a way that we're like, I mean, this isn't a parenting podcast, but maybe it's to our friends too, right? Instead of being like, hey, you shouldn't joke like that. I mean, that's not really understanding the why. Again, being curious, asking questions. So help me understand what makes that funny for you. Or, hey, is that, I mean, do you talk to yourself that way? Or is that, I don't know, do you mean to hurt someone? Or what does this say about what we think is valuable?
Yeah.
I
think it was actually Caroline that told me about this guy, and I don't remember his name. I think he's a lawyer, but he's like, do you remember that?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure what you're going to say.
He was talking about that. Just reminded me of like that. If somebody says something very, you know, sarcastic and biting to you, or even if it's not humor related,
right,
but like that question, that, did you mean for that to sound like that?
Sure.
Or, you know, challenging that.
Sure.
Because like you guys talked about in your previous podcasts, a lot of people have blind spots and they don't
100%.
even realize that they do that.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
So.
Totally. Yeah. And it's us having compassion even for being offended, not just immediately going to, okay, I've got to defeat this person, but like, hey, help me understand this person. That's part of us being okay in Christ. And I think part of us being okay in Christ is being able to laugh at stuff and find the joy all around us.
I think on another end of that too, I think we can sometimes come across people who tell a lot of self-deprecating humor, like all the time.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And it's like, how do we address that? Like, are they comfortable with themselves? Is this just like, is this real? Are they really feeling that way? Or is it just a way that they're able to find humor?
Yeah.
I've heard it's also like I'm going to make fun of myself.
It's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah,
right.
So you don't.
Right.
Yep. Definitely.
But even addressing that, like, as a good friend, like,
Sure. Hey, man, God loves you more than that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great discussion, guys. So in kind of landing the plane here, be able to, like, humor is not like opposite of holiness. It can be a companion to our holiness. In fact, you know, maybe part of holiness is feeling that joy that radiates a type of healthy humor. And God invites us into a life that includes both tears and laughter. right?
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe there's episodes down the road, like, I don't know what different types of joking or anything out. Ooh.
Knock jokes, maybe.
Oh, totally. You talk about building tension.
We do a whole episode on knock jokes. That'd be great.
So our encouragement to you is that you are able to truly laugh in pure joy, and to be able to turn that laughter back to praising God and what he has done for us and the joy that is there every day.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, thanks for joining me, Melanie Jones.
Sure.
Okay.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us today. If you've gotten anything from this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend.
And be sure to join us next time for our next question.